Welcome back. Back again for an episode of, what is it, Keeping the Knot Tied Pod. I almost forgot the name. Because we've been away for a little while. But we're working on being consistent. You know me, Lamont, my wife here, Shay. We got our other host with us, Kev, Tam. How y'all doing today?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here on this lovely Sunday.
Yeah, weather's nice.
Yeah.
Nice weather.
Yeah,
Another
nice
day
weekend.
missing football again.
Yeah.
Got to check in on our breaks.
Got my cell phone close by. My fantasy football. It's an important week this week.
How you doing, man? Just
Doing good.
doing good?
Yeah, I think I'm like number 4 in one league.
okay.
Top 6 make it. The other league I'm like number 7, top 8 make it. So got some hope.
Yeah, I get my butt kicked right now, but I ain't gonna focus on that. I gotta win these next 3 weeks to make the playoffs. So chances are slim.
Right.
But yeah, man, just to say, you've been with the podcast. We've been getting good feedback about our first 4 episodes that we've been putting out there. So definitely feeling good about what we're doing. People are being enlightened. People have been touched, and people are having conversations. So man, definitely feels good. I know you're not on social media, Kev, but have you been hearing anything about the podcast? Or Tam, you on social media, have you heard anything about the podcast with your friends or any feedback?
Yeah, I have a friend of ours there in Houston, and so I got them to, log in and watch it. They really, really enjoyed it. A couple, they sat down and they watched it all together. And they actually watched all the 4 episodes together, kind of did like a little binge watch.
Oh man.
And they both really enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, we're not gonna hold it down or anything. We just gonna go ahead and jump into the questions. Y'all ready to jump into the questions?
Yes,
Jump right on in.
Make it hot. Make it hot. Let's see. Uh-oh, I just got a notification. Touchdown to Greg Olsen. Yeah, we starting off good. Look at that.
guy right here. Stay focused, LT. Stay
All
focused.
right, I'm trying.
Please.
My bad, man. We gonna spinning.
Here we go. We in
All
action.
right.
We in action.
And
We're
the
in action.
wheel- And the wheel is spinning.
Here we go.
I think it's over there going slow.
Oh, here we go.
Just stop.
Just stop.
Okay.
I'll say, why are you and your spouse compatible? Discuss similarities and differences. Why are you and your spouse compatible?
I know with us, I feel, because it's like we're the same and then we're opposite. So I think more so like I'm more like, I don't know, I'm always jumping off the walls, the hype person. You're more kind of like serious and more laid back sometimes. Just depends on the situation.
Right.
So I think it we're balanced, we'll balance each other out with that.
Yeah.
And then I think too, like I guess goals as far as our family are the same, so I think that's why we're compatible as well, because we have certain goals and the way that we also raise our kids as well, that helps with our compatibility as well for me, because we see that, we have similar ways of disciplining what we know is right from wrong and things of that sort.
Doing.
You more like, we know what's right from wrong. We know that we want to
Right,
discipline
wrong is
them.
common sense.
Right, but discipline, like we know like what should be. But I'm the mama, so I'm more like the soft. I got
You the
the soft spot for my
softy.
baby. Right, right.
I'm that.
I have to be the bad guy.
So you the bad
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah.
So you gotta-
You like being the bad guy?
It
No,
works.
I don't. I don't.
Like you said, like one time when they're good, like they.
It's like a lot of times I have to step in for, like, when they don't listen to her. It's almost like she'll say
Yeah.
do something, they don't do it, then I gotta come in there like, hey, what did mommy say?
What I
So
did,
it's like,
Right.
I don't want to have to do that,
Reinforce it.
and I'm looking
Right.
like the bad guy. Yeah,
Reinforce it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, that's a good answer.
That's good. I would say we're compatible, but different in a lot of ways as well. I think she's very more laid back than I am. When it comes
We're
to
both laid back.
I think we are, but I think you're really more like chill. Like I'm more social, so like we're laid
Okay.
back when we're like together. We're pretty much laid back, not doing too much, but like just in a different environment, social environment. I'm more social. She's still more laid back. Pick and choose who she wants to speak to and not speak to, but hold the conversation. Yeah.
I like the way you said that. But,
Yeah.
I don't pick and choose. I'm just,
Can't
like
let
you said,
everybody in.
he's more social where I am laid back. Like we're sitting here, I might be the one that talks the lead side of the group, but I guess in that way, I'm more laid back in that sense.
Yeah.
But I'm not picking and choosing.
No, you're not
oh, I'm
picking
not
and
going to talk
choosing.
to you
I'm just
today.
joking. Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
You're not.
He's like, no, you're not.
She's not that way.
Yeah,
But no, I think,
don't say that.
yeah, that's where I would balance a lot too. Like outside of that, on the social scene, just within our marriage, she kind of keeps things balanced. I like to stay balanced around like everything that I have going on, work, relationship, social things like that. I think when it comes to like us just getting along, being compatible in that way, she's the one that like keeps us balanced. She's very easygoing. When she wants to stand up for something, she speaks on it. When she thinks something needs to be done, she lets me know, and that kind of keeps me like just grounded, where I'm not looking to start an argument about small things, or we're not like nitpicking about different things around the house or things that's just going on in general. We try not to like nitpick and find. I would say we don't try to find like each other's weaknesses. Like we don't try to like bring those out unless it's something that we really need to discuss. I think we do a good job of not like. I think we had this conversation just a week ago about like just some of the things that maybe you need to there's an opportunity to kind of like strengthen. We're not like, hey, you need to do this like this, or so I think that kind of helps us out where we're not like, hey, you need to do this or you need to do that.
Not being
It's about
pushy.
the approach,
Yeah, how you approach it,
yeah.
yeah. So I think communication is pretty good. She keeps it balanced.
Compatible in those areas, both kind of laid back. Our approach to how we discipline our son is fairly similar. I know I'm the mom, so a little bit more softer in how I approach it. Although I do have my moments when I am the enforcer.
Sometimes you gotta get in
sometimes
there.
I gotta get on up in there.
Yeah.
Even so, still, because I'm such the one that he runs to, I would enforce it, and then he would just run right to me. It's just like,
Right.
okay,
That's what they do, man.
I seen him do that with
that's like I would just really get on him, but he would still come to me to comfort him.
That's love.
Yeah,
That's love.
That's right. That unconditional love.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Anything else? That's good. We can move on. Jump right into the next one. That was a good question. That was one of yours, Sam?
I think it was, yeah.
You be rolling yours hard.
I know, that's my questions. I think at least 7 of my questions come out, yeah.
Alright, it's finished. Here we go. What do you think about divorce? Is it the first option? Is it the last resort? Or is it completely off the table?
That's a good question.
That is really good.
That is a good question.
Personally, I would say it's off the table. I'm just saying, or in the sense of it should be the last resort. It should never be the first option at all, because everyone's gonna have problems. Marriage is not easy at all, so you have to learn how to work through those issues and talk it out, or if you have to go through counseling or mentorship or something just to work on it. I don't ever think. And some people just, sometimes it just doesn't work. To each his own. But just for us personally, I can't speak on behalf of all the married folks in the world.
Right.
Because that's why I said some people just doesn't work.
Right.
Because I know people that have gone through, through a divorce, and they, sometimes it's the best thing for those people and their situation. But I think as far as us,
If it's the best thing, then should it not be off the table?
You didn't.
Maybe it should be a last resort then.
Last
It's the best
resort.
thing.
I'm gonna fight for us about that. But yeah, last resort for
For us, it's
off the table.
no matter what.
No matter what.
Stuck.
A drag, like no.
That's
You don't want nobody to be miserable either. So it's like,
What's that show that come on? Women be killing people. What's that called?
Snap.
Snap. That's what that sounds like.
He hates for me to watch
Snap.
Snap.
No matter what.
Yeah. Don't watch that show. You get any ideas?
But in a normal scenario, I do feel like it should be the last resort. I mean, I think it's great for it to be off the table. My thing is, you see people who are together like for so long, and you hear people's stories, and unfortunately, like sometimes people can drift apart. A lot of times you see it when people, it's amazing to me, like you see people married for like 20 years, 30 years, and they get a divorce. So why do you get a divorce after 20, 30 years? But a lot of times people are together almost just for the sake of the family. Like you have, once the kids are grown, the kids are now in college, and the kids aren't in the house no more. It's just you and that one person, and you see, dang, me and this person, we ain't even compatible. Right? The kids ain't running in between us, but I don't have that same bond that we once had when we grew up. And I think it's a rough situation to be in. Hopefully, we'll never be in that situation. We good, but for some people, I think it should be a last resort. I think you have to work, like you said. Go through counseling. I think you have to figure out, okay, if something's wrong, how can I change?
Right.
Do I need to change myself? Do you need to change? We got to compromise, find that middle balance, because I think the divorce rate is so high because people don't want to compromise.
They don't want to work on it. Like people just be like, okay, well they know, oh, I can get divorced, whatever. But I think some people get married for like the wrong reasons.
That's true.
And it's like divorce is so common nowadays. Just like I don't know, it's crazy. Just I know my mom, was divorced, so it's kind of like just seeing that. But my mom is like, she's a strong person, strong woman, but she was able to kind of overcome it and do so much good and better things. But at the same token, like you want to companion, some people want to be, have that companionship, be with people, and you just gotta work on it. Like it's not easy. You can't just give up. So people just kind of give up.
I guess to answer the question, I would say it should be off the table initially, right, off the table. But as you're going through, marriage and life, worst case scenario should be the last resort. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be the first option. What I kind of ask myself is, why do people get to that point? I think you just brought up, after the kids are gone, how do you keep that spark and keep that love going? I know I just talked to a couple, friends, and they speak about like, as a married couple, you've been together for 10 years, 5 years, you have your first kid, you buy your home together, you buy your cars that you wanted together, you guys experience all these things, you travel together, and then after 20 years, 30 years, it's like, okay, what do we have to accomplish? The kids are in college, what's next? And I think that's kind of what happens, not just with people just growing apart. I think people, people just look for more excitement. Right. So like, how do you keep that excitement, within your marriage after the kids are gone and it's just you and your wife, and how do you keep that going on? But it should be off the table initially, and then as life goes on, if anything happens and you can't work toward, you can't go through counseling, can't find that common ground, then it should be the last resort.
You don't want to be miserable either. Like you don't want to be in something where you're unhappy. And I know like over time sometimes people do change, and situations change, and so it's one of those things where if it's the best option for you, but it's just like you gotta I don't know. And then some people like end up to be crazy. Like you don't know who you you don't know who you marry. Like you meet this person, like okay, they're cool, and then like a year or two. Like, wait a minute, they crazy. Something wrong with this, something wrong with them. Like, what's really going on? Because people don't know.
You met the representative, and then once you married her, the real came out.
It's not crazy. So, yes, that happens. So,
but one thing about growing at the same time, and like when people get to a certain point and they're not the same as they once were, I think that speaks a lot about the relationship that they were in, where they weren't connected throughout that whole relationship. That whole 15, 20 years, there was a disconnect.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, because you should be growing together.
Right.
You're growing apart.
Right.
So your morals, your foundation, there's a disconnect somewhere in that picture.
And I think that's the most important thing. Like for me, just to answer the question, I feel like when you're initially in marriage, that is definitely off the table. But of course, if stuff happens that are deal breakers for me, then I will go down that route, But I just feel like when you're in a marriage, you have to make sure you're constantly communicating with your spouse. Like we try to do what I call like a check-in kind of speak, where we're just making sure that we're still on, we're on the same page, but socially, financially, any aspect,
Mhm.
that we have any area in our marriage, or just making sure that because you don't want to ever assume that what your
Right.
spouse is, how they are, how they're feeling, what they're doing. Even if you've been with somebody for 12 years, you should never assume you know how that person feel, because
Right.
as we say, people change. My perspective on something may be slightly different than yours. I may be thinking of it a different way than you, and I just think that as long as you're having a constant kind of check in and just making sure you're both good, then you kind of it should hopefully prevent you from veering off too far from one another to where you
Right.
just can't
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Y'all staying accountable for
Yeah.
each other. in that
Yeah.
situation.
Right,
That's
right.
real good.
Yeah.
Accountability partners and that's really
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good. But I guess when you talk about something you said, Tam,
A check-in.
not check-in. I can't remember the word that was used, but it's almost like something that's non-negotiable. If this happens, then
My deal breaker.
the
Yeah.
deal breaker.
Yeah,
The deal
yeah.
breaker. So
Mhm.
I know one of the most hardest things for people to deal with is like adultery.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Adultery is that a deal breaker,
Right. For me, physical abuse is a deal breaker for me,
right?
and adultery is a deal breaker for me.
Mhm.
So, and he knows those things. But of course, I don't. You
Right.
know, yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he does know that those are my deal breakers,
Yeah.
and if that happens, then hey,
Right.
I may have to strongly consider that, because
Mhm.
you knew that. And personally, I just feel like it's just total disrespect of me, yourself, our family, what we're building, and I just can't have sympathy for that. You knew that before you chose to make the decision that you chose to make. Like, you can't come to me asking for sympathy because you feel bad about the decision you made. Like,
Right.
that's on you.
Right.
I'm going to make a
Absolutely.
decision
Yeah.
now that's best for me, because you chose to make a decision that was solely selfish and just
Yeah.
focused completely on you,
On yourself.
on yourself. You weren't thinking about your family in that moment. So don't look at me sideways if I don't want to give you that olive branch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if I choose to do it, then maybe I will. I've never been in that situation before. I don't know. As far as being married, I've been in that situation before dating, and yeah, I would drop the axe in a minute. So,
Mhm.
but as far as being married, I have a child now, and you have all these different factors. I'm not in the situation, so I can't say I might not, not
Right.
Yeah, because you're not. Yeah.
stick it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I may give it thought, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, just knowing myself, it probably will be.
Yeah. And those
I know
things too,
those
like I
things.
didn't even think
Yeah.
like, as far as that, like if it's
That's a
like
big thing.
You know what I mean? Like, those are,
Yeah.
that's why I can never
I think-
say, oh, it's completely off the table,
because you just never
because
know.
you just
You never
You know
know.
what I mean?
They may be the top two things why outside of finances why
Outside
people get.
finance.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Get
Yeah.
No,
more
yeah,
Outside
yeah.
finance. Yeah.
So I haven't even had my mind just wander across like deal breakers. Like
Right.
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 I just try not to like just say, or I don't know, like you say, you
just
haven't been in a
don't, yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
you don't know how you'll react,
Right.
where your heart's gonna go, where your mind's gonna go. So I think at that time, I think that still puts everything to the last resort. And what are your options to kind of work through whatever you have
Do
going
those
on
things, yeah.
to make it better, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
I think you gotta think about like every aspect.
Every
I know
aspect,
it's
yeah.
easy to say, okay, I'm gonna walk away. I'm
Right.
done because you've broken our vows. But there's a lot that goes into it, And me, I'm probably the type of person like, oh, I'm done. Like, all the stuff I do, I'm out of here. But you do have to consider.
And I think that's how people
It
get
feels
trapped.
weird saying this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, was it a one night stand? Or are you
Are you in
you
love
having a
with them?
relationship with another person?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
because
So
you
you
think about
can-
your family and your
Yeah.
future, it's something that we
Yeah,
can
that's
actually move past. But I think that's when you have to think about, okay, how can we make this better? Can we
Right.
go through counseling? It ain't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be an easy process, but
Right.
we can possibly
Do
get
you
through
feel
to
like
it.
it's worth
Yeah.
the fight?
But it's worth the fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And also the kids, the family,
Yeah.
How that harms the kids, how it harms, each other, like how it harms you, your spouse.
yeah,
You guys go through a lot as well. Like I think anyone that's divorced and they're going through,
yeah, it's hard.
it's
And
hard.
it's crazy, like, cause you see people that were so happy at one moment, and all of a sudden somebody hate each other.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
God, y'all have this much love for each other at a certain point, like,
Mhm.
then all of a sudden you just kind of like, like they drag each other through the mud. It's just like a whole, I don't know, it's just, that's that feeling of like, wow, you used to feel this certain way about this person, and I was just like, you
because
can't
you're
even
hurt.
stand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it's
so
that,
disappointed and hurt.
They
Like,
just can't.
wow, like I can't believe
I
you.
can't.
You know, and then
That's
that
crazy.
love just turned into something else.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to,
Resentment
Yeah,
and
it's
hate
all
and
that.
hurt. Yeah.
It's hard for me to hate someone, though. I guess it's not hard because if you hadn't been in that situation, you don't know what
Right,
went
yeah, how
on,
you
what
would've
transpired,
felt,
how you
yeah.
would have felt. But just kind of thinking outside of that fire, I would say, I would try not to hate that person because again, it's still your family involved,
It's
right? Your
family,
kids
right.
involved.
Yeah.
You know, so now everyone's hating everyone, right? People
Right.
gotta choose sides. So that's one of those situations that I pray that that last resort never comes,
Right.
just because of that. Even when the kids get older, then you gotta pick and choose. Do I go to mom's house for
Right.
Christmas?
The holidays,
Do I go to
yeah.
dad's house?
That's why
So
it's
the
So
wild.
strange.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and I just will have a big respect for people who are had to end up going down that road for
Yeah,
whatever
they
reason.
can co-parent.
They can co-parent.
Yeah, and they
They can even have celebrate a holiday with both parents in the room
Yeah.
and it be okay. Just because for the
That's
sake of
really
the kid.
mature, like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
sure you weren't mature starting off, but you
Yeah,
got to
you got
the point.
right.
You know.
You got that to where,
Y'all
yeah.
might fight it.
Right.
Yeah.
Blow, police
Right.
beginning,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, just keeping it real, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, you finally have to get to a point where you're like, you know what? Yeah, we didn't work, but we've got our children, and we're going to have to make this work, this new normal work for our family. So I have friends that, have been married for a long time, got divorced, and they're in that position. It's holiday season. You don't want to feel like make your child choose. You know what I mean? And so if it's a way for you to kind of blend it in a good way, then I definitely say, try it. If that's to make it work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Make it work.
Make it work.
Make it work. Make it work.
Yeah, make it work.
Good
Make it
discussion.
the last resort.
Right.
Yeah,
Stay
definitely.
Off the table.
Off the table.
Off the table, absolutely.
All right. Next up. You all right?
Sweet Lamont.
That ginger.
What's that, Ginger?
Oh man, this one kind of falls in line with what we were just talking about.
Okay.
Is being faithful hard? Yes or no, and why?
Faithful hard.
Hey, this is a real question.
But it is
It's a real question.
question.
He ain't even got nothing in his cup. He picked it
I
up.
know, right? that was time to drink. I ain't even got nothing to drink. I was gonna sit back.
Super antique.
If you would have said that, I would have faked it. Like,
Gas on the
called me out.
Hold on, what? The last recording. He had me out there.
I got you back, man.
That's
so funny.
We're gonna tackle this one first.
Right.
It's being faithful hard.
host.
Is that how it goes?
Hostess with
Now
the
I mean, kick it off. I just started sweating over here.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? Is being faithful hard? I don't think it's necessarily hard. I say for me, I don't believe it's hard for me, because I'm not put in situations where I feel like I'm tempted. Like if you put yourself in situations where you're hanging around maybe certain friends who are going out a lot, if you're going out to clubs and certain places a lot, when you mingling with people, then that can kind of cause those certain temptations and things to make your mind start to wonder. But I don't feel like I'm in those environments, and it's almost like it's a weird thing. Like when I thought about this at a young age, like when they say that love is blind, it's almost like when, like Shay is the only woman that I've ever been in love with my whole entire life. So when you in love with somebody, I think for a man, love is like, it's something, I don't know, something just so strong, it's like a strong force. It makes you look at everything totally different. And so when they say like love is blind, it's like she's the only person I see. I don't really see nobody else, And I think as long as you keep that same mentality, what can happen is you can have the devil start to come in and things can come in and it messes up your vision.
Right.
And then you can start to see things, but that's when you know your home ain't right.
Yeah.
In those scenarios, you gotta get your home right because you know that something can come in and slip through the cracks and break up with that bond that you already have.
Right.
So in terms of it, your faith will be. It's not hard for me again because I don't put myself in certain situations. But if I lived a different lifestyle, if I was doing different things, then yeah, I could see it being hard. Like if I think about a basketball player, we say somebody who travels on the road
like
all the time, and
yeah.
you're not around your spouse. So that connection can kind of be broken a little bit because you're not seeing them. I see Shay every single day,
Right.
non-stop. So for
Sorry.
non-stop.
Makeup, she right there.
Right. No, this is over.
I couldn't even do a podcast by myself. I had to include her. You know what I mean? But I can see scenarios for people where it would be complicated or hard. But
Yeah.
for me.
I think it was good. I think it goes back to it can work both ways. It could be very hard, or it can be very easy. You know, I think it's based on your home. If you think you got something good at home, you know, everything is going well. You know, being faithful it's easy. I think in my situation, it's easy because I know I got something good at home. I love what I have at home. It's working from not only a love standpoint, but also a business standpoint. So I think that's key. So I think when you have those components together, it's easy. And being in Atlanta could be very hard living in Atlanta. So anyone that lives in Atlanta, it could be very hard. Everywhere you go, you see beautiful women everywhere. So it could be very hard. But if you don't know what you have at home, if your home is a great place, it's you're happy, you're satisfied with what you have, then it can be very easy to be faithful.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where it starts. But for any man, it can be hard. But if you're in a good place, and you love who you with, and everything is going well, it's very easy. Like Lamont said, just make sure you're hanging around with the right people.
Right.
And you're when you go out, make sure it's for a purpose of you just enjoying yourself, being social, and that's it, right? You don't want to go out with like a mission, like I'm trying to find someone. Like you got to make sure that you're gonna have fun.
Right.
And we both go out. We got respect for each other, so we know. Listen, you're going out and get some drinks, listen to some music. Have fun, socialize,
Right.
and then you come back home. So we're in a good place, so where we can do that, and still keep that balance. So.
Right.
Trust your spouse, and
Yeah.
Right.
it's a big part.
Yeah.
Cause I watch Jersey Shore. Shit, like, you always watching Jersey Shore. I watch Jersey Shore. Alright.
No, right. He was
And,
tearing it up. This is the first season too. Like this is show.
It'd be funny to me now cause like I don't know how many seasons they done had
I
now.
had a lot because
But-
it was like, babe, we in Greensboro. You was
Yeah.
watching that. They been around for a
I don't
long
think I even
time.
watched Jersey Shore.
So now they doing like the reunion and the vacations, like they
Oh
going
yeah,
back.
they wrong like they're.
They all reuniting. They all got kids. Not all of them, but most of them got kids and stuff now.
Man.
And it's like, so they go and they party and all that kind of stuff now. But it's like, some of them is married, some of them engaged. Like you got like my guy Mike. He has a girlfriend. Then you got like a couple other guys. They got girlfriends. And it's like you always have like the two other guys. They at the party and they bringing girls back to the room.
Oh,
You see them. They got like a stripper pole in the house. And the girls is over there dancing on the stripper poles and everything. And it's like, she was like, oh, hey, she come jumping on Mike, like, what's up, you want to play? And he was like, no. I'm saying about how hard it would be. And this happens like to them on a regular basis.
Right.
And I'm watching them like, I'm waiting for them to break. Like they about to break. Because they bringing them girls home and they see the cameras and everything and they just want to play. But they stayed strong and they didn't do anything the whole time. So I think something like that, even in the mix of kind of what I was saying, where like if you're in that sort of environment and you're going out, like he loves girls so much, like it don't even matter. They in the house and everything, but I ain't even gonna mess with them. So I think that tells a lot about the strength of the actual relationship and everything. So if your relationship is broken, it's easy for you.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes it, you have to make sure your relationship is in a good place, because if it's not in a good place, then it does kind of become a little harder for you to stay faithful in your relationship, in your marriage. You know what I mean? So I think for the most part, I mean, if you're in a good, happy relationship, then it's easy to stay faithful. I think that it becomes hard or a challenge, or thoughts start to roam in your brain when you're not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you may have expressed how unhappy you are, and your spouse is not, being receptive to you, and now you're at a point, well, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
I've tried to express my unhappiness. I've tried it this way, that way, and then you may go out, or you might not even be the person that go out. You might be at the grocery store, or somebody might say, oh, give you a compliment, or you might just start chatting, or you might just be at work or whatever, and then now somebody else has caught your attention because it's them giving you the attention that you're not getting from the person that you really want the attention from, and I think that's how stuff ends up trying to creep in and makes it not be easy.
And that's that disconnect, like you said, that disconnect.
It's so important to try to stay
connected and communication.
Absolutely.
Having those talks monthly, weekly, and really understanding, what each other's needs are, is important as well. I think it goes down to all types of needs. What's being done around the house, financial needs, like really understanding those needs when you communicate with your spouse. It can even be sexual, right? Like how often are you touching each other? Like that plays a part. So you got to really have that conversation. I think a lot of times, that becomes very important.
Do you think people stray away from conversations?
I was just about to say, because we have friends that have been married for way longer than we have, and we may say like, oh, we keep a calendar, or we check in, or we do this, and then I would always hear, oh, we used to do that, but we kind of just drifted away from it. I don't really think it was intentional, but I just think you get busy over time, and you don't really see the value in it, or you just start assuming that, oh, I know he's cool, she's good, and they may not be.
They're not be.
So I just think what I've learned from talking to other couples is that you can't assume, and two, you've got to check in, even if you think it's gonna be cumbersome or just a pain in the butt, or you just really don't feel like it's needed or it's extra. It really isn't, because like all these topics that we're talking about now, it's like, if you would just do the simple, easy check-in and just talk, you can probably just kind of avoid a lot of the disconnect,
problems and stuff like that.
Just fine,
that's really good.
I think in some scenarios, though, people avoid those conversations because they feel like you could start an argument.
They don't want to argue.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, there's certain things you don't want to.
You gotta know how to be honest. With your feelings and what you want to.
You gotta be an adult at the end of the day.
Right.
And then if you may be talking about a sensitive topic, and your spouse, you may think it'd be a hot button for them. One, I would try to do it and make it an environment that you're talking in. Kind of friendly, you know what I mean? So that way it's not like, you don't want the person to feel like you attacking them or whatever. You always want to make it be like, I hate to say like a cliche, like I feel this way, or you want to put it on you, not the other person. That way it's not like you're trying to attack that person. You know what I mean? And then try to talk about it lightly, jokingly, a little bit to start, just so the person don't feel like you coming down on them, you trying to attack them, because nobody want to be feeling like they've been attacked by something, because as soon as you say, well, you know what, then the person already done shut down, and they already on the fence of
You
like,
say, you used to, you did,
and then now the person looking like,
There go baby Amari.
thank you.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Say
Say
hey.
hi to the people.
Say hey,
Say hi
Mari.
to the camera. Say hi.
See, parenting never stops.
He's like, mommy, open up. I'm like,
Okay, here you go.
Okay, go sit down.
Okay, go sit on the sofa, buddy. Okay?
Okay,
All right.
go sit
Well,
down.
Go sit down. Say bye-bye. You want to go sit down on the sofa?
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
go sit down.
I'll be over there in a minute, okay? You want me to go take you to the sofa? Yes. Okay.
All right, well, we can take a break on
We
this
can
one.
take a break. Okay.
You came in time because we gotta take a
We're gonna
potty
take a
break.
quick, we're gonna take a potty break, okay? All right.
All right.
You did good. 45 minutes.
We over here like,
He
come
did
on.
45 minutes. It's like, okay.
He did real.
Okay.